Hey guys, I'm Becky from Book Bite Reviews and welcome to another weekend reading vlog. Today it is Friday, April 11th, and that means that it is week 2 of taking my O.W.L exams with G from Book Roast. If you missed last week's video, the very first week, I will link it right here. So first, I finally did pass my divination exam. I read The Giver this week at work on audiobook, and it was so good, you guys. I really tried to pay attention to try and understand the ending because I don't know whether to take it at face value or if it's supposed to be symbolic. But even though I still paid really close attention, I'm still not sure. So I may continue on with the Giver series. I think that there are 2 or 3 more books, so I may read those to see how it goes. I haven't heard great things about them though, so we will see. After that, I did try to read 2 books for O.W.L exams, and that was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which was going to be for my herbology exam, and the graphic novel Rapunzel's Revenge, which was going to count for Ancient Runes. Unfortunately, I have decided to DNF both of those books. Truly Devious, I just did not care at all about the characters, and I started to not really care about the mystery. The more I thought about it, the less I wanted to pick up the book, and I didn't want to force myself to get through it, so I decided to just go ahead and DNF it. Rapunzel's Revenge was pretty cheesy, and it was like a Western meets Rapunzel graphic novel. I don't know, I just really didn't like it. So after reading, I think like maybe 30 pages of it, I decided to just stop. So that was DNF'd as well. So since I DNF'd both of those books, that means that I needed to replace them. For Ancient Runes, the prompt was to read a retelling, so I decided to take A Court of Thorns and Roses and use it for that prompt instead. To fill the prompt that A Court of Thorns and Roses was for, which was Transfiguration, the prompt was to read a book with a red cover, so for that I decided to pick up Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. And then to replace Truly Devious, which was for my herbology, the prompt was to read a book with a plant on the cover, and I'm going to be reading The White Rose by Amy Ewing, which has a beautiful rose on the cover. The good thing is that both of these books are short. It has actually benefited my plans of still making my career, so all in all it worked out. I didn't read bad books, and I picked books that I actually want to read. So now the plans for this weekend. I have made some pretty good progress with the curiosities. I am now like 10 pages away from being 50% of the way through, so I'm currently on page 140, and so far I am really liking this. Most of the stories so far I have wanted to read a full-length novel. I've been pretty sad that they have ended, which is usually why I don't like reading short stories, because I want them to be full-length novels, especially when it's by 3 powerhouse YA authors. It is just a recipe for disaster, honestly, because all of these have been really good. There's only been a couple that I just didn't really care about, and that was because they were historic fiction. But otherwise, they've all been really good ideas for books, and I have enjoyed them and wanted to know how they would end. So the plan for today is to finish this up. So once I finish that, I will be starting The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I am really excited to read this. I keep hearing people talk about this, even though it's been a while since it came out. People are picking it up, or they are comparing new books to it. I feel like this is such a staple book in YA fiction, so I really need to just finally read it, and so this is what I will be picking up next once I finish Curiosities. I have 2 options that I would like to start and hopefully finish one of them, but that is a pretty big task to put on myself. But that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda and The White Rose. Both of these I would like to start this weekend at least. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. They are both relatively short. So yes, that is the plan. I am gonna go and get cozy and finish the Curiosities right now. I'm very excited because today I'm expecting a package. I have been tracking the UPS driver all day because now that's a thing. And inside the package is a camcorder that I decided to buy using my birthday Amazon cards. I cannot wait to get it, so I will check in with you guys when my package arrives. Hey guys, so it is Friday night, technically Saturday morning since it's about 1 o'clock in the morning now, and I wanted to quickly come on here before going to bed to tell you what I read today. So first up, I did finish The Curiosities. This was so very good. I think I'm going to give this, I'm really not sure about the star rating just because it's really hard to rate a book of short stories, but I really enjoyed it. It was so good. I had a really great time reading it, and I really loved that not only is it full of short stories, but there are also annotations and notes from the other authors commenting on each other's work. So it was just really cool. There's drawings and it's handwritten notes that are written into the margins. So it was a really cool experience, and I'm very glad that I finally picked this up. This does mean that I have officially passed my arithmancy exam, which is to read a book that is written by more than one author. And then next I did start The Raven Boys. I am currently on page 157, so I did make a very good dent in this one. I'm using my leather bookmark. I will say that I am kind of having a little trouble getting into this, and I'm not sure why, because everything that's happening I should be really invested in. This is like everything so far that I would enjoy in a book, but I think it's because it hasn't introduced a romance yet. There's like little hints and foreshadowing, but there hasn't been anything that's like real happening between any of the characters yet. So I think that might be what's throwing it off for me, because I should really love it. I will also say that this is a pretty dense book, I feel like, even though it's not too much, but there's just like a lot of stuff happening, and Maggie Stiefvater does it where in her book she slowly reveals everything to you instead of being really info dumpy. But I feel like I would rather it be a little bit info dumpy with this, just because there's so much going on paranormal wise as well as contemporary. So I don't know, I just feel like there's a whole lot coming at me. The chapters are pretty long and we have a lot of different perspectives going on in this book, and I feel like I still haven't fully established everyone's role and personality just yet, even though I am this far. So far I'm enjoying it and it's good. I just feel like I'm a little bit lost, and I feel like it could have something to do with just finishing the short story collection that Maggie Stiefvater is a part of. I don't know if tomorrow I will immediately pick this up. I'm not fully in love yet, just because like it keeps telling me there's going to be a romance, but there has yet to be one. So that's how I feel right now, but I am enjoying it and I will definitely be finishing it. So overall, a really good reading day. I have read like 300 pages today, so that is really good. I'm pretty proud of my progress. Now, I did tell you that I had a package coming today, but unfortunately it was not delivered. So I'm hoping tomorrow it will be delivered to the UPS drop-off point where I then have to go and pick it up, because that's what the little ticket said that they left on my door. I thought that they would leave it at my porch, but unfortunately because of the price, they want a signature, which I didn't know. So when I went to the door to pick it up, they left the note, even though the UPS driver was still there, and I'm sure he saw me come outside and look around for my package. He didn't stop and just left. So missed my package, so hopefully I can get it tomorrow. So it is what it is. I am now going to get ready for bed because I have to work tomorrow. I don't normally work Saturdays, but they need me tomorrow, so tomorrow I'm working, so I have to get up very early, and then I will check in with you guys when I get home. Hey guys, today it is Saturday. I am home from work. At work, I did not do any reading because today the city decided to do a giant Easter event. We decided to buddy up with them and do a craft, and since I work on the youth side, that means I was doing a craft. So I was busy with that all day long. I did not get a chance to read at all during work, but I am home now. I am ready to read. My initial plan was to start Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, which I still plan on starting today, but I'm actually kind of in the mood to read some more of Raven Boys, so I'm not sure which one I will begin reading first, but I definitely would like to read both of these today. I will also apologize if I sound a little stuffy. Here in Michigan, the weather is going nuts. It keeps going from hot to cold, and my sinuses are just exploding. Every time I'm in the house, I'm stuffy, and then I step outside and my sinuses just swell up and I get the worst sinus headache. It's terrible, so I'm dealing with that. But in better news, I did get my package today. I'm so very happy I got my camcorder. So here it is. It is so cute and so light. I absolutely love it. This is the Sony HDR CX405. It is nothing fancy. This is a pretty cheap camera. I got it on Amazon, I believe, for like $228. I really just wanted something that would replicate what video quality my phone does right now. I eventually would like to invest in getting a really good camera, but right now currently I cannot do that. But I am sick of using my phone to record my videos, so I would much rather have a designated device save my whole life. So now I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to make something to eat because I'm starving. I'm so hungry, and start reading. I'm very excited. Tomorrow is Sunday. I have the day off since I work today, and it's just going to be a reading palooza from now until Monday. Hey guys, today it is Sunday. I did not come on and update you last night because I started to feel like crap towards the end of the night. So yes. My sinuses are just really bothering me lately, so by the end of the night I could only listen to an audiobook. I had to have all the lights off, I had to have a heat mask on my face. It was just bad. But I still did some reading. So first, when I got off yesterday, I made some dinner and I watched some BookTube, and then I had my Daughter of Smoke and Bone live show. It was really good. I really enjoyed Daughter of Smoke and Bone, but I gave it 5 stars, but it's still not something that I was like super excited to keep going on with the series. I enjoyed the first book. I loved it. I love Laini Taylor's writing. But it just wasn't enough for me to be like, okay, let's keep reading all the books. But after the live show, I am so excited to keep going because only one of our 4 hosts has read the entire series. That is Cassie from Miss Sassy Cassie here on YouTube. And a lot of the stuff that people had problems with is the same stuff that I had problems with. Not as much as they did because they rated the book 4 or 3.5 stars, but it was still stuff that kind of bothered me, which is why I didn't feel like I wanted to keep going. But now, after watching the live show and seeing Cassie try to talk without spoiling anything, like she says that the series, at least for her, does get better and better as it goes on, and said that for sure the first book isn't her favorite and that just keep reading. So I'm very excited to keep reading it. I will be starting the second book, Days of Blood and Starlight, for the Owls later on this month. I'm not going to start it right away because the live show isn't until next month. But that was really cool. That was my first live show, and I definitely plan on watching more for either books that I have already read or actually participate in read-alongs. So then once that was over, I was already tired. My sinuses started messing with me. It was just bad news. But I decided I still wanted to pick up some of Raven Boys, so I did listen to the audiobook. I am technically on page 212, which is chapter 23, which is past the halfway point. But I feel like the last chapter, chapter 22, I didn't fully retain because I was drifting in and out of sleep. I'm going to reread that chapter and then keep going today. I really hope that I can finish it today. That is the plan. But if not, I'm going to read until I want to stop and then pick up Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I wanted to get so much more reading done, but my sinuses are like seriously ruining this weekend. Alright, I'm gonna go attempt to take some BookTube pictures and then read, mess around with my camcorder, read some more. I hope we can save this weekend and make it worthwhile. Hey guys, I am currently on the couch reading The Raven Boys, and I'm now on page 235, which is chapter 25. I am now officially invested in the story. I cannot wait to find out what is going to happen, what's going to happen to these characters. I'm pretty excited. I will say that I'm still not totally sold on the plot of finding this dead king. That's not really interesting to me, but the characters and everything else that's going on to find this dead king is interesting. It has definitely taken me a while to get into this book. I am now over halfway through it, and now I'm finally invested, but the first half is very character driven, which normally I do like, so that's why I kept going this long, is because it is still interesting to me because I do like character driven books. So the first half is about getting to know everybody and getting to know their backstory
and to slowly now like get to this point where now the adventure is going to start. So it makes sense of why it's taken so long, but yeah, it's been a while to get here. But I'm very excited now. I can't wait to see how everything goes. I think the romance is about to finally start. I am in it.
Hey guys, today it is Monday, April 15th, and it is time to wrap up this vlog. So first, before I do, let's talk about the reading that I did yesterday, since I did not update you guys again. First things first, I finished The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I definitely enjoyed this. I wouldn't say that I was in love with it, because this book was very different, and I did still feel like I was left confused by the end. Like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, this book is 400 pages, and the first 200 are all getting to know all of the characters. It is complete character development, and then the second half is when we finally start to get into the plot of this book. I personally do like character-driven books, so the first half didn't bother me, but if you're somebody who is more plot-driven, the first half of this probably would have killed you. For me, it was okay. I do wish we get a lot of different points of view. So it does alternate between a few people. I think 3 people's points of view. No, we have 4 people's points of view. The thing I did not like is that the chapters are not titled with whose point of view we're going to hear from. At first, it made no sense because every chapter was only told from one point of view. Once we got towards the end of the book, some of the chapters did have more than one point of view brought in, but I still wish it would have just put on the top of the chapter whose point of view this was from. It didn't take long to figure out whose point of view we were hearing from because each character is very well developed thanks to those first 200 pages, but it was still a little bit jarring, and it took me out of the story for a second because I had to figure out who we were hearing from. So I do wish that they were labeled to tell you whose point of view we were hearing from. Like I said, the second half is when all of the plot points start to happen. But I will tell you that if this book did not have the paranormal elements that it did, I would not have enjoyed this book. The plot of finding this lost king was not interesting, like, at all, but the paranormal aspects of these ley lines and how our female main character's family is psychics and all of that, that was very interesting. So if they would have taken the paranormal out of this book, I would not have enjoyed it, like, at all, pretty much. So I'm very, very happy that Maggie decided to throw that in because it definitely made the story. Lastly, the only thing that I didn't love about this book is that by the end, like, there's the giant, like, climax ending happens pretty close to the very last chapter, which means a whole lot happens and is resolved very, very quickly, and I felt like it was a little cheaply done. A lot of stuff happens and we're not fully explained how these things happened. They just kind of happen, and I did not like at all how, like, the very last chapter or last 2 chapters are told, like, I think it was like a couple months later, maybe it was a couple days or a couple weeks, but it was definitely not the same day or the next day. It was later after where the big kind of like climactic ending happens. It's sometime later and we're seeing like a little bit of the aftermath, but I enjoyed seeing that, but at the same time, I'm still not fully aware of what all happened in this book because it was not explained. Like, I'm sensing that a lot more is going to be explained in the later book since this is part of a 4-book series, but I feel that when it comes to a series, each book should be able to stand on its own, and I don't think that you should have to go to the next book to understand what happened in the first book. I think that everything that happened in this one should have been easily explained. It's fine if the story continues on through the series, that's why it's a series, or why some things wouldn't be resolved, but to have like a pretty close to resolution in this book but not explain what the heck even happened, like, I don't think this will spoil anything, but basically we're in the woods and then all of a sudden Adam does something and I don't even know like what happened, like what did he do, what does that mean, and then all of a sudden it was just like end, days later, we're doing this now. The ending was a bit jarring. I didn't really like it. I definitely do not feel like I am resolved enough. Again, the paranormal aspects really saved this book because there was a lot of surprises that happened during the last 150 pages or so that like really came out of nowhere. I did not see coming at all. It did not kind of like lead up to that at all in the beginning, I feel. It was definitely an interesting book. I will definitely be going on with the series. It was good enough for me to keep going, and I definitely can't wait to keep going because there shouldn't be any more character development happening because so much of that happened in this book. So I will definitely be continuing on, but this was definitely not a 5-star book for me, but I did very much enjoy it. So then when I finally finished that, I did pick up Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I am currently on page 63. I'm on chapter 7. This so far is okay. I don't feel I'm far enough yet to like really get the feel of the characters, but so far Simon is kind of okay. I don't know. I'm not fully in love with any of the characters just yet. Again, I'm very, very in the beginning stages. I'm only 60 pages in, so I definitely see the potential for this book. I do think it's funny because last night I went to start it and I realized that I don't know anything about what this book is about. I have just seen all the awards that this book has won, everybody reading it. It's got nothing but amazing reviews, amazing hype. The rating on Goodreads, where it has like over 100,000 reviews and it's almost a 5-star review overall. So, I mean, it's a good book and that's why I picked it up. But I realized that I never once have ever read the synopsis of this book. And I finally did last night and I was like, oh, okay, like that sounds interesting. So this book, in case you don't know like me, is about a boy named Simon who is gay, but he has not come out. He doesn't think that his family or friends will have a problem with him coming out. He just hasn't done it yet. And he is emailing this boy from his school who is also gay and who is not out. And that boy is a lot more fearsome of coming out. So they email back and forth anonymously. They met each other on the school's Tumblr and have now started up this email exchange where they talk, but they don't know who each other are. Unfortunately, Simon has left his emails up at school and somebody got a hold of them and now they are blackmailing him to help them get close to one of his friends so that they don't blackmail him or expose him, I guess. So it is a cute idea that I would definitely reach for anyways. Like, that already interests me, but the fact that so many people have loved this book definitely interests me. I just think it's so funny that this book has been out for a while. It has a movie, so many people love it, and I never once knew the synopsis of this book, so now I do know. So I did start it. I was not able to do any reading of this at work because I do not have the audiobook. My library says it's going to be a 7-week wait to get the audio, so needless to say, I am physically reading. I'm totally fine with that because it is a super duper floppy paperback, so I'm very, very excited about this. So now I will give you my overall ratings. Simon versus the Homo sapiens, obviously I will not give it any rating so far because I am way too early in it to even give you an idea of what I think I'm going to rate it, so this one is just a currently reading. On Friday, I did finish The Curiosities, and I think I'm going to give this book a 5-star rating. I really, really enjoyed this. Almost every single story in here I wish there was more of. The only ones I can think of that I really didn't care for were the ones about King Arthur. I'm just not into that, which that's why the plot of this would not hook me if it didn't have the paranormal aspects. So those I'm pretty sure were the only stories in here that I didn't really care about, but literally every other story I was like, oh, that's interesting, and it had me hooked, and I wish a lot of these had full-length novels, so definitely worth the read, and I really, really enjoyed it. And lastly, that leaves to rate The Raven Boys. This, I think I'm going to give a 4-star. I did enjoy the book. I did fly through it. I'm definitely going to continue on with the series, so I will give it 4 stars. I just think that the rest of the books in the series are going to be much better than the first one. I think this was a very good series starter. I just definitely don't think that this book would stand up on its own. Like, if this was a standalone book, it would not be good. So this also means that my Defense Against the Dark Arts exam has been completed, which means I'm pretty sure that I only have 2 books left in order to finish my career of becoming a ministry worker, and that is to read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda and then read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Okay guys, that is everything that I have for you for this weekend reading vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, don't forget to hit that subscription button. And if you want to be notified as soon as my videos go live here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the notification bell. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!